on Skype.
Yes. You guys have just like popped on board here, and I am Stacey Hancock. Hello. And I'm here with Danny J of the Sweaty Betties. Give us a wave, Danny J. Say something so we can see your big camera. Hello, Danny.
Hello.
There you are. Now, Danny J and I, we met back in 2012 after I stalked her. I became very inspired by her story, and I was actually lucky enough to meet her and join her at a Danny Johnson event in 2013. So I thought we'd have a chat to Danny J today about the topic of mindset and personal self-growth, which is a huge area of interest of myself and a lot of people who struggle with weight in their bodies. So yeah, a lot of women do struggle with this concept. And so we tend to see people like myself or Danny J as lucky, or perhaps maybe we've been like this our whole lives. But the reality is that we really need to alter our own mindsets and adopt personal self-growth as part of our path to actually achieve this level of confidence and freedom. So, excuse me. So Danny, you've had some incredible achievements in your life, your financial progress and other cool things in the past couple of years specifically, as well as some battles and struggles. So I know your story, of course, from when you were living in Vegas onwards. So I would love you to share that with our viewers today. Tell us about that journey from there to now.
Absolutely. Well, first off, thank you for meeting. It's been so fun. I love that we met in person. Like, you meet cool people online and you never know how they are in person. So we're like real friends in real life, I say. So it's really fun to do this, and I love getting to Skype with you and talk to you. So, we met online, and I had a fitness brand, and I still do. It's called the Sweaty Betties. And I actually started that with one of my best friends. And she and we used to do fitness competitions, and I kind of got maybe a little jaded with the fitness industry. I noticed that people who I thought were really healthy, they weren't exactly living the best or healthiest lifestyle. And I realized that it took so much work, almost to the point of hurting yourself, to get like stage ready or to get on a magazine cover. And there was just so many things to it that I almost just started to hate fitness. And my job was a trainer, so I knew that I couldn't like hate what I did, and I had to get back to why I loved it. So I started the Sweaty Betties. And actually, what was kind of crazy is it was with my best friend, and we kind of broke up, I guess, as best friends during this time. So it was a huge struggle for me. I actually moved to a new state to live with her and build the business. And so my husband and I went through this huge financial kind of crash in the States, especially where we lived. There was a big like housing bubble that burst. So we lost our home, we foreclosed, we filed bankruptcy. We really just were screwed. And so when we moved in with our friends, and then I lost the friendship, I just felt like I lost everything. I had no money, I had no car, our car broke down, I had no friends. It was just this huge disaster, and I was really bitter for a little while, and also my body started to really revolt against all that I had done in fitness. So I was sick, I was broke, I was hurt by people, and I was just in this bad hole. And I think I just started to search for answers. Like, I knew I couldn't live like this in all of the aspects. And so it kind of took me on this crazy journey of looking for mentors, looking for doctors or naturopaths that could help me, looking for alternative ways to deal with what was going on inside, and also to deal with what was going on with my relationships and business and all of that. And luckily, I found Danny Johnson, a mentor of mine that I follow, and I also found a lot of other help, like a cool hypnotherapist who taught me emotional freedom technique like EFT tapping, and I also found a naturopath, and we had many conversations together as well, just about herbals and adaptogens and things I could take for the inside of my body. So it was just this crazy, crazy journey. But to tell you where I am today versus there, so let's say that was the beginning. January 2012 is actually when I moved into her house. So this is 3 years this month, and my life has completely changed. When we filed that bankruptcy, we still had quite a bit of debt. My husband and I are now completely debt-free. I actually finally forgave that friend. I know for a while, like, that was kind of a stuck emotion. Like, I would think of her and I'd be really angry. and I have nothing but good feelings towards her. I mean, we don't talk. She kind of fell away, but letting go of that was a huge part of my journey. We're completely debt free. We actually moved into an RV and we've been traveling. I guess what would you call it? A motor coach?
Yeah, motorhome.
Yeah. So we're in a motorhome. We're traveling around the country. We're just like life has just been free. And then as far as the food and all that goes, it's just not an obsession anymore. I don't worry about it. I'm not concerned. Like if I miss a workout, I don't beat myself up. I mean, I was so rigid, like if I wasn't perfect, then I might as well just give up. And I just don't have those parameters in my mind anymore. And I never thought I'd get there. I thought my whole life I was going to have to just stick to meal plans, but I don't, and it's so freeing. So I'm in such a different place. It's cool that we're talking in January because this is kind of like when everything went to shit.
Yeah.
So it's not like that anymore, which is awesome.
That is awesome. And yeah, and you're so right about, having to feel like you have to stick to a meal plan and things for the rest of your life. And it doesn't have to be like that at all if we're taking, action steps towards freeing ourselves and personal growth and stuff. So yeah, love watching your journey. But you posted a video on YouTube a few weeks ago from your youth speaker university application, which actually blew me away, and I had no idea about this about you. So tell the viewers about that experience.
Yes. Okay. So right after I graduated college, I, do what most college students do, go get a job. And my first job was basically to run away with the circus. So I got this offer. There was an audition for SeaWorld for acrobats, and I had done gymnastics growing up. So somebody told me about it, and I auditioned, and I got the job. So I got to go to Southern California, and we were practicing every day. I mean, I had bruises all over my body. We were doing the craziest stuff. It was so much fun. But our show was actually in Mission Bay. So it wasn't like in a pool that had chlorine and was cleaned. It was actually like in the ocean. So our stage was on the edge of the ocean, and then we would like jump into the water. And so unbeknownst to me until after the fact, that water's very, very polluted with sewage and whatever else kind of garbage there is. And I was performing for about 3 months, and I woke up one morning and just fell out of bed. Like, you get up to go to the bathroom, and I was just like, phew. And I thought, man, something feels weird in my legs. Like I was having some pain and kind of like, just maybe I pulled something. I went to the bathroom. I said, I'll just go back to bed and maybe I'll wake up in a few hours and I'll be fine. And so a few hours later went by. It got worse. And by the end of the day, I was in so much pain. One of my friends came to the door, and I was like army crawling because I couldn't move. I couldn't move my legs. And it was like this excruciating pain. So I went to the hospital. I got a cab, and they helped me get in the car. And the hospital took x-rays, said your back looks fine, your legs look fine. They gave me some pills, sent me home. And it just kept getting worse. And so we got to the point where we didn't know what was wrong. So my friend called my mom and said, you need to get your daughter and take her to the hospital because we don't know what's wrong. And so we arranged a flight so that my mom could meet me at the airport. She picked me up, took me to the hospital, and I didn't leave for a month. So what happened at the hospital was they did the x-rays, couldn't see anything, but they took my temperature, and it was like 105 or something insane. And so it was instantly like they knew that it wasn't something physical, that something was going on inside. So instantly they started hooking me up to fluids. They found out that I had an infection in my bloodstream, which was from E. coli. And I was very lucky that I didn't die. And probably the only reason that I even caught it, because I didn't have any symptoms. I wasn't throwing up. I didn't even think I had a fever. I was just in pain. But it got lodged in my sacroiliac joint, and so it cut off all the nerve endings to my legs. So that's why I was having the pain and couldn't walk. So I ended up leaving the hospital about a month later. I still couldn't stand on my own, but I could stand with a walker. So I would they left me with a walker. I had a PICC line, which is like basically an IV that just stays in you. and I was on these hardcore antibiotics for months and months and months, about 4 months after the fact. And and I was super depressed because I was 22 years old. I had just been like, not only been physical, but like everything. Like I was an acrobat, for crying out loud. It wasn't like you just took away my legs. It was like you took away my life. And I loved it. I had so much fun, and I was like, this is my dream. And then it's like God crushed me, like, oh, you're gonna have this amazing job doing something you love, and then haha, just kidding, now you're never gonna walk again. And my degree was in physical education. Everything I learned was kind of like physical. So I thought, what am I gonna do if I can't walk? I just wish I wish it had killed me. You know, like I was so thinking, like everybody's, you're so lucky you lived. And I'm like, no, I'm not lucky. I wish I just died, because now what am I going to do? And I was very like, that was my attitude. I was really thinking, there's nothing else I'm good at. There's nothing else I can do. I don't want to find another job. If I can't walk, I just don't want to have anything. And so I was angry. You know, I was mad because I couldn't even dress myself. My mom had to help me put pants on and you know, I felt like so helpless, especially because I'm a very independent person. And I had a really good friend who was just diagnosed with cancer, and she was a friend of the family. She came to see me at SeaWorld, and I had actually cut my hair that year, that summer, because she was getting chemo, so I was going to shave my head. And so we were really, really close. And she came to see me after I got out of the hospital, and I like got to the door with the walker. And I will never forget, I opened the door and she just looked at me, and she was so, you could tell she just felt so bad for me. And she was like, Danny, I cannot believe this happened to you. And she just kept talking about how she felt so bad for me and how this shouldn't have happened to me. And I just felt like an asshole, because I'm like, wait a second, you just had surgery. She had like her liver removed, her ovaries removed. I mean, her whole inside was being taken out. She was going through chemo. She was so sick. We knew she wasn't going to make it. Like, she had a death sentence. She had like X number, you know, they said 6 months to live, which she did live for about a year. But she was feeling bad for me. And she was like, this shouldn't have happened to you. And I was like, oh, wow. That's, like, that was my big light bulb. And she left, and I bawled. I was like, God, I've been so selfish. And it made me cry. But that was, I mean, I'll never forget her for that, because I had to realize I got to be here for another reason. And it wasn't certain that I would never be able to walk again. It was like maybe. But what was certain for her was she would never, you know, she could never have kids. She could never do anything. I mean, she had a death sentence, and I at least had the chance to do something. So I wouldn't say it was easy to change my attitude, because I can be pretty negative. But I got this book somebody gave me. It was Louise Hay. It was called like Change Your Thoughts. I don't know, I have it. I should grab it. But basically these affirmations that are like, if you have a pain in a certain part of your body, you say this affirmation, or if you have an infection in this sort of your body. So kind of like to release blocks, that like you attract certain diseases to you from your thoughts. So I was just on this major like affirmation kick for months, and I started going to the gym, and I made these little cards, and I would have my mom drive me to the gym, and then I would just go to one of the sit bikes, and I would just push my legs around to get my legs stronger. And while I'm doing the leg stuff, I just read these affirmations over and over and over and over. And I'd spend like 4 hours a day at the gym, just because I didn't want to be around the house and be around my mom, and I just was like trying to get stronger. I'm like, I got to be able to walk. And so that's how it happened. It wasn't easy. It did take a long time. And it took me about 9.5 months to walk normal, like without a weird limp. You know, I was using a walker and then a cane, and then I would just walk really weird because I was really weak on one side. But about a year later, I ran in a marathon, and I haven't probably, after about 4 years, all of the issues that I had and the pain I had was gone. So it did last a while, but I don't have any issues now, and I don't have any pain, and it's a miracle, and I will never take my my health for granted and my life like that for granted.
Mm. That's such an awesome story. And using that affirmation stuff, which I do myself as well, how it's so important, and it's something that a lot of people could benefit from, regardless of whether you believe in, physical stuff shows up out of, emotional stuff, whether you believe in it or not. Affirmations just do make such a difference.
Yep, yep. And
Yeah.
even it was the same thing when I got through the stuff with my ex-business partner. It was the same thing. I was having so much crap go on in my head, and I was like, oh my God, I need to go back to the affirmations. And I had to do it all over again. It's like every time I get down this weird path, we have programming, like we have programming from what we were taught and growing up. And I think some people have programming they need to reprogram. I know I did. And it comes back really easy. So I have to be really diligent about, as soon as I get off track, going, no, 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 come back and just read this stuff and just over and over and over. And that's how kids learn, right? It's repetition. They learn things by doing things over and over. And I think sometimes we think we can't control our thoughts, and affirmations seem a little like you kind of feel like you're lying to yourself on some of the things you say. But soon they become true, and they become your inner dialogue. I would notice that, like, I might have a thought where I would normally beat myself up, but then I would have the opposite thought, and I was like, wow, now it's almost like when you're learning a new language and you're translating in your head, and then suddenly you're just speaking the language instead of translating. I think the affirmations are like that. You do it long enough until at one point you feel like you're making it up and you're trying too hard, and then soon it just becomes your own natural thought pattern.
Mm. And then you start to see more and more of that actually play out in your life, and you're like, actually, this is true. And then
Yes.
it becomes easy to say it.
Yes, totally.
Awesome. So I suppose, one of the myths that a lot of women feel is that if you've got a banging bod, that life's perfect. And so a lot of overweight women tend to think, oh, if I lose weight, I'm going to be happy. But, you used to be an NBC national figure and bikini competitor and fitness model, didn't you?
Yeah.
And of course, you still battle with depression or depressive episodes, I suppose, and things like that. So, is the perfect body actually the answer to happiness?
It's such a good, this is so good. So, like, we all have that in our mind, right? Like, once we look a certain way, we'll let it go. But it's so crazy how much I see the opposite effect happen. Like, the same with money, too. Like, you think you want a certain amount of money, and then when you get it, you need more. It's like you might have a number on the scale. Maybe it's a number, or maybe it's to fit into something. But I know when I was competing and trying to look a certain way, it became this obsession. So I would go to the bathroom, and every time I'd like lift up my shirt and like check my abs and like make sure they're still there, and it just it got so ridiculous. And I was probably more obsessed and concerned with how I looked then, and I probably looked the most perfect than I will ever in my life again, because I don't care that much anymore. But I was so lean, had so low body fat, but I wasn't content, and I wasn't happy because I felt like a lot of pressure to maintain it. I felt like I was on the verge of just any time losing it all. It was almost like this, so much pressure to keep it there because it was so difficult to get there. Where when you can get to a place where your body just, you can go back and forth in a few pounds, but you can eat whatever you want and it doesn't affect your scale weight. Like, that is such a better place to be. If you have to work so hard physically and like restraint wise, where you have to like, go crazy or like leave the room because you can't be around the food, it's just not worth it. And the other part of that is it's funny, I hear this from Jeff Olson, who's an author, who says people always think that success comes, like, once you're successful, then you'll be happy. But what successful people know is actually you have to be happy first, and then you'll attract success. And it's same with weight. It's like you got to be happy with your body. Maybe you can always you can always do better. You can always strive to do better, be stronger, work harder. It's not really to like be apathetic and go, all right, I'm just going to accept myself. I'm lazy and fat and sloppy. But it's just going, my body is what it is right now. I'm going to accept it and love it anyway. And I'm going to honor myself and do something to make myself feel better. But I'm still going to be happy, even though I'm not here. And so, yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done, of course, kind of like the affirmations. Sometimes you got to affirm that, hey, I love this body right now, right where it is, even if your head you're like, I freaking hate this body. But what else do you have? I mean, you have no other choice. You either have to choose peace or you have to choose being insane all the time. And I finally just got sick and tired of being crazy all the time because there's so many bigger things to worry about. And it's honestly very selfish if you're constantly just thinking about how you look and what everyone else is eating and you can't be around that. It is so selfish because you're put here for a reason, to share a message or to give to people. And when you can't give your full presence because your mind is somewhere else thinking about your food and obsessing about your body, then you're, I don't want to say you're worthless, but you're kind of just not living up to your end of the bargain of being here on this planet.
Yeah, and that comes down right to there's a lot of mums out there who feel like this is kind of how it is, but you can show up a whole lot better for your children and be less grumpy and have a better relationship. And so you don't have to be, like us, where we, try to change the world and things like that. It can be that you're just being a better person for your family, and it's just going to make you enjoy that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have kids, but I definitely would like to think, I mean, my husband may argue this, but I'd like to think that I'm a better wife and a better friend because I feel like I can truly be present for my friendships and my relationships now, listen to them, see how they're doing, where before it was like, it's almost like when you're watching TV and having a conversation, you're only half there, like you're kind of listening, but you're like, I'm trying to watch this. It was like before I was always like half in my own head worried about my own stuff, like how was I looking or what I need to eat next, and I was half there in my relationships. And when you can be all there and all present, you're just going to enjoy life that much more.
That's so true. So yeah, so you mean we're going perfect in
Yeah.
Damn it, we've broken this. Do you ever find yourself self-sabotaging the good stuff? So a lot of people really tend to do really well, and then all of a sudden it seems like life slapped them in the face. That kind of external sort of stuff showing up. Do you have you found yourself sabotaging the good things over time?
With food?
With anything really, any of the success that you've achieved.
You know what? I would say, yeah, for sure. I still do. It's like, and I catch myself these days. Probably my biggest self-sabotage technique is procrastination, right? So I think so many times we know what we need to do, but we don't do it for whatever that is. And so I'm a big procrastinator. And actually I have this, this is funny, I have this sign up that says, do it now. And I don't know, I was reading a book the other day. I think it was the 15 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, or it was some John C. Maxwell book. And he talked about this guy, and he said, write down the words, do it now, and say it 50 times in the morning and 50 times in the evening. And so I've been doing this for the last few weeks. And it's funny, kind of just like the affirmation. In the middle of me, like, I know I need to do something, and I'm like, whether it's business or go to the gym or whatever, and I'm kind of just screwing around, and then my head goes, do it now, and I'm like, ah! And I think I self-sabotage with skipping out on things, not showing up to things, or like putting things off so that almost like the decision was made for you. If you don't make a decision, you're making a decision by not making a decision. As far as food goes, I've kind of let go of, I might eat a big crappy meal, but I never feel like it's self-sabotage anymore because it's just what I choose to eat in the moment, and that's what it is. I mean, my husband just went to the store and bought cookie butter, like a big old thing of it, and I'm going to have a few spoonfuls, and I don't call it self-sabotage because I'm just going to enjoy it. That's where I'm at. As soon as we're done, I'm going to have a big, giant spoonful, and I don't think I'm sabotaging because I'm not on a diet, So as far as food goes, I'm not there, but as far as other things like procrastination is a big one that I fight, and I definitely, I think we all have tendencies to do it somehow, whether it's through relationships or procrastination or with food, but I think it's just about the awareness of it and like noticing when you're doing it and going, oh, I'm self-sabotaging right now. What am I avoiding? Or what am I trying to get out of? If you can ask yourself that, I think you're even a step ahead. Even if you still go through with the self-sabotage, it's like at least you're a little farther and you're noticing it. So, yeah, my little do it now has been a little pain in my ass lately, but I'm doing more things.
Yeah, so, because you're such a driven, go-getting woman, it's like, I just can't ever imagine you procrastinating. It's like, when I met you, I was like, just slow down. And it's funny you mentioned the food thing. Danny introduced me to a taco that had fries like in it. The food you introduced me to was crazy. Certainly not self-sabotaging. I had to experience the fries in the taco.
Yes. Oh, that sounds really good right now.
No, it doesn't. It's awful. So as you know, our thoughts and actions, they're driven by our deep beliefs. What would you say the three biggest beliefs, or limiting beliefs, should I say, that you have overcome that used to, affect you?
So probably the three biggest self-limiting beliefs are number one, I feel like a lot of us have some part of this is that I'm not good enough. Whatever that means, like comparing myself to other people, and it goes both ways. You know, I actually have realized I've been doing some soul searching on this. That maybe I'm better than some people and not as good as other people. And it doesn't serve you either way to feel like you're better than someone or worse. It's just you're on your journey, and that's been a big one that I've been working on is just getting out of the self-comparison game and not being good enough for whatever. I'm good enough for anything. It's just a matter of me doing that. God, this is a really good question. I'm trying to think. My other ones I would have to say are okay, not being good enough. I don't know if procrastination is a yeah, it kind of is. That I don't have enough time. So I think that's the belief, but realizing that I haven't been faithful with my time, that a lot of times I've just been wasting it. So I think a self-limiting belief is that I don't have enough time is something we lie and feed to ourselves when we're just being not really good with the time that we have been given. Not good enough. I don't have enough time. It's a good question. What would you say is yours?
Yes,
on you.
I get struck by the I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
The other beliefs, that other people know better than me.
Yeah.
So that's that kind of lack of trust in myself. Oh, I can't think of the one. There's actually a good book. Have you read The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks?
Wait, say that again?
The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. Have you read that book?
Oh, I haven't.
It's awesome. So it actually goes into some of these self-limiting beliefs. That the big, what, 5 or 4, I can't remember, but the big ones that kind of hold us back. Oh, I've thought of my other one. Is that I can't be loved.
Yes. That's definitely a really big one too. It's almost like you have to earn love, right? And I think that sometimes we feel like we have to earn, but I think just by being who we are, we deserve love and we deserve compassion just because we are. And there's nothing we can do. It's not like you have to do X, Y, and Z before you're allowed to have love or before you're allowed to have compassion. And that's actually a big one. It's kind of one I dealt with probably earlier, so I didn't come to mind right away. But yeah, that's huge. Huge.
And these things, and they feed into our sabotage, and they do. They contribute to us not quite getting what we want out of life. If you could offer three pieces of advice to women out there who feel like they really are just battling for life, it just feels like such a struggle, what would you say? How could they start to create a life and the body that they love?
Well, number one, affirmations. I think just because they've helped me so much, and I will say there's a process to it. So I think sometimes, like, we talk about the law of attraction, and there's some truth to it, and then there's some, like, I think there's a different way of that some people think how it works. Like, I don't believe the law of attraction works, so I'm just going to sit here and go, I'm going to manifest a expensive car. It's going to come to me. It's going to come to me. I think what the law of attraction really is we actually need to affirm the feelings we want to have. Our feelings create our actions, and our actions will bring about the results. So my affirmations aren't about, like, attracting stuff to me. My affirmations are about changing how I feel about myself or about my actions. So they're feelings that I create my actions, and my actions will get to my results. So I think affirmations, number one. Number two, I so really think everybody should do this at least once. At least, I don't know, my husband won't do it, but learning self-hypnosis, hypnosis, or meditation, I guess I kind of almost feel like they're the same. I was able to do a hypnosis or see a hypnotherapist, and then they taught me self-hypnosis, and then I'll do, like, guided meditations. And I think sitting with yourself and trying to listen to what's going on in here and here, you have so much wisdom already in you, and a lot of times you have all the answers that you need to anything. So I think the affirmation, sitting with yourself, is huge. And then just actually taking care and honoring your body, because you really don't have anywhere else to live. So it's not necessarily saying don't eat a jar of cookie butter, but don't do it every day. But, like, I just had an apple, and I walk, and I do exercise. So you need to take care of your body and exercise it, because it's like where you got to live, and you got to keep it tuned up like a nice car. But it's not everything. There's a lot more. There's a brain in there. There's a heart in there. There's a spirit in there. And so you got to take care of all of that.
That's so true. And I like how you say, this is the place that you get to live. And that is so true. And you're carrying this all through life. And if you're feeling sluggish and tired and awful, it is going to affect how this life plays out for you. So, we live in a house, but if you're living in a body that you just don't like, your house is uncomfortable because your house is right in here. So it's so true.
Yep. So true.
Affirmations, meditation, and honoring that body, and making a start no matter how hard.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that is really cool, Danny. So we're going to wrap this up now. So you guys can connect with Danny J. She has your website is sweetbetties.com, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So you can join her mailing list. This is how I found out about her Acrobat thing. Actually, she did a mail out, and I watched the video. I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know this about my friend. So you can connect with her on there, and she's very inspiring. On her Facebook page, Sweetie Betty's on Facebook. It's late on Friday. I don't know what I'm saying. Cool. So I just want to thank you for talking to me today, and I hope you guys really start working for it and have a whole lot of inspiration, and just so that you understand that nobody's perfect and everybody's on a growth journey. So thank you, Danny.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so good to see you. And I just have to say, like, the whole time I've been looking at you, I know we haven't talked in maybe a few months, but you're, like, glowing. You look amazing. So I don't know what you're doing, but you look happier, and your skin looks great, and you just look awesome. So you can tell whatever you're doing, it's, like, radiating from the outside, the inside out, and I love it.
I'll tell you what I've been doing. It's really funny. I've actually literally been doing with more consistency the three things you recommended. I am doing affirmations every single day, whereas something that I've never ever done before, because it was always hard. It always felt so fake, so I never did it. So I've been doing that. I have been trying to meditate, so I find that difficult with a busy brain. And I always look after my body, but I've been kind of looking after it even more. So yeah, this is the result of doing it. So, yeah, good
I
message.
can see it. Like, you look so good. Like, you look amazing right now. You look like 10 years younger than I've seen you before. And, like, I'm like, I don't know what she's doing, but she looks awesome. So,
Also, or you can hire me at any time.
I think I'm going to have to.
Awesome. All right, we will say farewell, and thank you everybody else for watching. So, see you, Danny.
Bye.